Everybody, it's Monday, March 13th, 2017. Going to talk about some of the trades I took today. First one was around right before the crude oil market opened. And a good rule of thumb is if it's a few minutes before the open, you're better off to often waiting. But I saw this little V-shaped pullback, and I got the feeling that we were going to go long. It was a pretty good setup, and I didn't want to wait for the market to open. Play that here. And I took this trade, forward this a little. That's when I went in. And I chose to go in there because I didn't want my stop to be any bigger. And I know my stop's going to go behind this little V. Okay. I'm going to show you now why I recommend waiting for the market to open. This is right when the crude oil at 9 o'clock, the pit session opens. And look what happens here. It starts really popping down. I'm like, am I going to get out with 10 ticks here? Look at this. You see this and you're like, ugh. But that happens a lot at the open. You get some whipsaw price action. So my stop was under here, and as long as it didn't get hit, I was still in that trade. And you can see it starts coming back up. Felt a little better at this point. Old me would have probably gotten out, break even, said, oh, thank God I didn't get stopped out, let me break even. But, you know, now I'm a little more patient, like I've been saying. This target looks very ambitious, but it doesn't mean I'm going to hold for that. But, you know, you can always take your profit where you want. Okay, this is like 7 minutes later. It hasn't been doing much of anything, going against me a tiny bit, going up a little bit. And then around 9:07, 9:08, it starts moving up. That's you know, you can't always time these momentum moves, so it's good to be in a good position. Okay, so now another 6-7 minutes have gone by. It's 9:16, and we just don't have that real momentum, that real, you know, strength. So it's something that's not going to jump up and hit your target right away. And I'm going to forward this a little bit. Price starts moving down. I had over 10 ticks, and I've moved my stop to break even. So right about now I realize I'm probably going to get stopped out, and I had a nice little 16 tick trade there, but and not only do I get stopped out, it gives me a 2-tick slippage. So, and it goes right, you know, right to where my stop is and starts moving up. So I decided to re-enter. I figured it probably hadn't hit any real resistance yet, and I wanted to make sure my stop was under some areas. So went back in here. This one I got 10 ticks on. Decided to, wasn't sure it was going to make it through there, so I took the 10. Okay, price started getting a little V-shape back up. I thought my stop was pretty safe under here, under this last little V swing, so I re-entered for a little bit more, and just forwarding a little here. Price hung out, and finally came back up. trying to get through that little magnet area. You can see it's made 3 little attempts. And it takes it out. So now was up about 18 ticks because I had those, 2 ticks from that first thing. Okay, started seeing a little reversal A pattern that I liked. Had my stop up here at about 12 ticks and got into this one. Price started kind of moving back up, and I started thinking with the lack of momentum and everything today that I was just going to go for another 10 ticks. And you can see it started popping back up. I always put these little price alerts to evaluate what I'm going to do when price hits those areas. Like for example, if it's hits that area right where I entered and I don't like it, I can always get out. And you can see it came back down and gave me another 10 ticks. So at that point I was up about 28 ticks, and this one would have kept going. I could have probably stayed in for 20. So my patience wasn't quite as great as far as holding for 20 tick targets, but again, you can see the activity lines are narrow. We're not getting a ton of momentum where I felt confident that it's going to get through all these magnet areas. Remember, the more momentum, the more chance it has of getting through magnet lines. Less momentum, good chance for it to bounce and reverse. Okay, here's one other trade I took. Price started moving up. It got through these swing areas here. It started showing a little momentum, as you can see. And look at this. It missed my target by 1 tick. Okay, I got up 9 ticks. It starts pulling back. Again, I was at a magnet line area here, and sometimes you don't really know what's going to happen. I tried to be patient, let it hit my full 10, and what I did is I ended up moving my stop to break even, trying to get a little something there. Again, I'm at 9 ticks, folks. And to cut to the chase, I broke even, and you can see I get stopped out. So I didn't get anything on that trade, even though I was up 9 ticks. Should have probably taken that, although maybe I shouldn't have broken even because price comes right back up, and it would have won anyways. But anyhow, after that, and it was getting a little late in the day, after 10:30 or so, I'm not always, and if I'm up fairly good, I often just stop because I tend to give it back later in the day when price just is moving with even less volatility. So I think this was pretty good for a day that just didn't have a ton of momentum. So that's it.